To continue our discussion about ethnography, I threw together a quick study that I've been doing for several years as I've been doing the ethnographic essay assignment. So we're going to look at a quick kind of sketch of what I might do for an ethnography. Of course, I need to break down my draft into smaller parts. First, I have my introduction and my thesis statement. Next, I include background information that's going to be relevant to my topic. Next, I have my analysis in APA format. We call that the discussion, where I go through the main points of my essay. And finally, I have a conclusion where I discuss the implications of my research in a broader context. Starting out, I need a thesis statement, and this is only a sketch, so I don't really have a thesis statement yet. Instead, I'm starting with a research question. Why don't more students at Williston State College wear college apparel? For years, I have done this study, and I'm still kind of perplexed about the answer, and we'll get into that in just a second. Before I go any further, I might need to stop and do some background information first. I need to research this topic and maybe give myself some ideas of research avenues that I could take. For example, I might want to lean into the idea of school spirit. So how is school spirit defined? What does school spirit look like at larger colleges and universities? And how specifically do students use clothing to show their school spirit in whatever school they're attending? For my own purposes, though, I might have to include a bit of methodology to explain what I consider WSC apparel as I am studying this group of people. Specifically, I'm trying to find why students don't wear more WSC apparel, so I need to define what WSC apparel is in the context of this study. For our purposes, WSC apparel is going to be specifically clothing, so hoodies, t-shirts, button-up shirts with the logo on it, hats, that kind of thing, anything that's wearable. I'm not looking at lanyards or anything like that as apparel because we give these out for free at various events throughout the school year. So I'm specifically thinking in terms of clothing as those students who have gone to the bookstore who have specifically purchased a piece of WSC apparel to wear and show off around the community. I started doing this specific lesson in fall 2020, and I did observational data in all of my classes throughout fall of 2020, and I observed 131 students across all of my classes, all of my sections, and of those 131 students, only 10 were actually in WSC apparel as I've just defined it. Looking at the year-to-year data, though, I started this in fall 2020, and every semester I have done the same observation and compared the results of my data. And the results of my data show that less than 8% of students across campus wear WSC apparel. Every time, every semester, I have done this. Now compare that to 58% of WSC employees who wear WSC apparel. That is a staggering difference, and it leads to a lot of questions. And that brings us into the analysis and discussion. There are a lot of questions that this data raises. First, why don't more students wear WSC apparel? That was my main research question, but let's drill down to that a little bit more. Why is there that strong difference between student apparel wearing and employee WSC apparel? Is it maybe that employees have more of a buy-in because they are employees, they're not just students? I don't know. Does this hint at a lack of school spirit? Now, on the faculty and staff side of things, the employee side of Williston State, it seems like there's a pretty strong school spirit. From the student side of things, that kind of smacks of a lack of school spirit. And if there is a lack of school spirit, how can Williston State build a stronger school spirit? Again, this is a very quick sketch of what I could potentially do for an ethnographic essay. But I need to ask two questions. What do we observe from the subculture? What behaviors do we observe? And what do those behaviors mean?